third attempt. It seems like it's working. Oh man, why is everything so complicated? Thanks, current year. Reboot that thing. I'm resetting the old.
Thanks, current year.
Well, that's about as close as it's gonna get. Let's see if we can get this thing going to reboot that thing. I'm resetting the old kitchen TV. Hold please. Okay. Man, well, hey, what's up, Jeremy? Man, the stream this morning was a struggle bus. It took me like literally three different attempts to go live. I was getting no micro or no audio warnings. I was getting disconnect warnings. I was getting Zappa. That's Frank Zappa. Yeah, so I had to like restart my cell phone completely. I've never had to do that before for a stream. Probably should do it more often, maybe. Maybe that's what's wrong with my audio, is my stream device is just a crapper. How am I? Oh man, let's see. I am good, but like kind of in disbelief that 2023 is down to about a day. Like it doesn't even seem possible. Like I just don't know where it's going. I mean, jeez. I feel like this is how I feel. I feel like when you're 1 year old, right? When you're 1 year old, to live to 2 years old is double your entire lifetime, right? So everything you've experienced, you have to double that entire lifetime to make it to 2, right? And then when you're 2 years old, to make it to 4 years old, you have to live double your entire lifetime to get to 4 years old. But when you're old like me, a year is like 146th or whatever, or however you want, 130th. It's like, I truly feel that's why it feels like when you get older, time feels like it goes faster, because I don't even know. I just don't understand it. You gotta do the best you can while you can. Let's make some breakfast. All right. What am I doing for tomorrow's New Year's? Well, I think tonight's New Year's, isn't it? Like, is tonight the night we celebrate? What is today? Today's the 31st. I think tomorrow's New Year's Day. So, I had a buddy whose dad, well, I don't want to call the guy out, but he was pretty good at drinking alcohol, right? We'll just say that. And his contention was amateurs drink on New Year's Eve. That's amateur night. Like, that's the night where people who don't drink go out and start drinking. And you got to be careful because it's a bunch of people who aren't used to drinking are out drinking. So you got to be careful on New Year's Eve. There's just a bunch of people who aren't used to doing it out doing it. The ultimate amateur night. What I'm going to do next year? Pretty much the same thing I did this year. wait for the next year, I guess. What else are we doing at this point? I mean, get a few things accomplished along the road. All right, I gotta. Jeez. That threw me for a loop there. The old no stream. Where's Gearbot? Gearbot's in the drafting room. I got a. I don't know how to describe it. My house the part of my house that I live in is essentially more or less, for simplicity's sakes, 6 rooms. So like if this is the shape of my house, technically there's a corridor. So here's a corridor, that's how you enter. Then there's kitchen where we are here. There's dining room there. There's spare bedroom there. There's living room there. There's drafting / sunroom here and master bedroom there. But right here, the house goes down 1 step. Boop, it's just off 1 step. So the main robot does this part, and then a little Gearbot, he does over there. He lives under the pinball machine. I got him tucked under the pinball machine. He's got a nice little robot cave down there. He's living a good little robot life. But, yeah. Ew! I found a not treasure inside my potato. How do I feel about that? Make sure that didn't stink. Is that like a geode? What do we got going on there, kids? Good thing I didn't bake that potato. What would that? I can't even speak. What would that have been like? I guess. Can you tell I haven't done washed my knives lately? I'm down to this knife. See if I can hurt myself real quick on accident. Out with the bad. I actually ran the robot just before I started streaming because apparently when I made my nachos last night, I didn't get all the cheese on the chips. Some of the cheese somehow ended up not on the chips, so I had to run the vacuum, which is fine. It doesn't smell bad. Does that fit? Can I just jam these things in here? Sorry. I'm not sure why. I'm kind of struggling this morning. I'm trying to get my this and that in order. Okay, I don't have the plunger. That's going to be a problem. Oh my god. Hold please. How am I going to do this? No plunger. Where would the plunger have gone? Emergency. How do you safely use one of these without the plunger? Oh, there it is. How do you use it when you forgot to wash it? It's still dirty. I gotta rinse this thing off real quick. I mean, how bad could it be? It was what I used on potatoes. Somehow that didn't make it in the dishwasher for last week. Oh my god, best stream ever. I mean, I'm gonna cook all this, so it's gonna be fine. I mean, it's not gonna be a problem, right? So any little bit of residual is just going to be fine. It's just going to be fine. Don't worry. It's going to be fine. Here we go. So first off, I'm apparently eating slightly not pristine potatoes, but I'm good with that for reasons that I'm not sure why. I think it's because I'm okay with it. I don't think I'm going to succumb to. I think I'll be all right. Oh man, what do we talk about today? You guys want to talk about Temu? Oh god, it's so crazy. I gotta take a break from the old Temu. Let's just say you got some upcoming content to look forward to in the affordably priced, delivered before expectations Temu orders. Yeah, I might have got a little carried away in the beginning. We'll just put it that way. The old Temu. Temu. So far, everything I've ordered has been, relatively speaking, to my expectations of what I was expecting. Which, there was a couple things that were kind of like, I mean, that's kind of a cheap piece of Chinese garbage, but the price point was such that I didn't really expect anything other than that due to the price point. And if the item works, then it was worth it. I don't want to ruin everything. I feel like I get so excited about talking about upcoming videos, I ruin everything. Or it's foreshadowing. I don't know. What do you guys think? Is it foreshadowing to know about the upcoming videos? Or is it like, I already know about this? I was talking with somebody the other day about something, and I was like, oh yeah, it's a spoiler. It's going to be a video coming up. And then they're like, no, we saw it in your live stream. And I'm like, oh, yeah. I guess I did show that, didn't I? I guess technically it was my shoes. Which, by the way, I'm enjoying these Chinese shoes. So, something I learned I have to rinse this out, otherwise it turns black and gets gross real quick. It oxidizes is the technical term. So give me 1 second here. Let me get a little rinse here. Hold please. It's a quick rinse. I bring it over here, but I didn't get around to cleaning this part of the kitchen yet. And it's a little under the weather as far as streamability. All right, there, give you a thumbs up. That way you don't have to stir it, nothing. I gotta get that fidget spinner back, right? Stick that in the old water. I've just made the mistake of not doing that in the past. It turns into a whole nother level of things to deal with. All right, oops. So what's new? Let's see. I started playing Diablo 4. Ooh, man. I got a message from one of my subscribers that was like, you know, I saw you got the Diablo 4 package. Are you playing yet? And I'm like, haven't got around to it. And they're like, well, let's play. And I was like, oh, okay. So I made a character and I started playing, and then yeah, we slayed some bad guys yesterday. It was pretty fun, actually. It's a different kind of game. It reminds me more of like the old school video games where it was just like, I don't know what. They used to call them shooter looters, I think, where you just like ran around and like, bah, 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 and then you like picked up gear and like upgraded gear. Like, it's not really shooter. It's more, what do you call it? Is it fantasy based? Because there's like necromancers and sorcerers. Is there sorcerers? I can't even remember. I made a necromancer. The thing's awesome. Yeah, it's fun. I gotta think about what I'm doing here. You would think at this point I'd have a pretty firm grasp on how to do this, but these are extra soggy. I'm starting to get nervous about that one potato. It doesn't smell bad though. That's how you could usually tell if you shouldn't be eating a potato, is if it's like not the right color and it smells bad. And you can cut not the right color out. I'm a firm believer, that's fine. What did I find the other day? I had a bag of potatoes that I forgot about. I put it on one of my steps. And then the bag of potatoes decided it was going back to the earth. And just like completely liquefied. When I say completely, all that was left of the bag was dirt. It turned back to dirt. And of course the bag leaked. And so I have this like liquefied potato stain about that big on one of my wooden steps. And it's just like, oh, okay. I wonder how deep that went into the wood. That looks like a forever stain. Like, I kind of just pretended it didn't happen and just like looked the other way. And it's been sitting that way for quite a while now. I've just been pretending. You know, that's how I solve a lot of my problems in life, is just pretend. And so like yesterday, I was like, oh man, I should probably stop pretending 100% on that one. And I made an attempt to, I don't know what you'd call it, to address the situation, and it didn't go well. It was just like I'm kind of thinking maybe I'll have to, I don't know, get a sander. I'm gonna have to sand the stain out of the wood, but I don't know how. I bet that goes deep. I mean, you got any potato stain experts in the chat? How deep does a liquefied potato go when it turns into a stain on your stuff? I mean, you think I would have smelled that, because potatoes have a tendency to let you know that they're not doing well through the olfactory system. I.e., they smell like not quite death, but pretty close. They get pretty rank when they start going bad. So, but it was in the part of the property I don't go to very often. You know, the struggle's real. I'm telling you, the struggle is real. So we're gonna cook some stuff here. I should get that bacon thawing probably. Let's start that. I already made coffee. I don't know if you knew that or not. Start that warming up. Get this ready to go. All right. So trying to think what else is going on. I'm not sure who's watching and who's not watching. If you're watching and you've recently visited the hospital, I hope you're feeling better. I'm glad to hear if you're on watching that you got that taken care of. Yeah. Spooky stuff. All right, what's going on now? We got that warm, and I got to make sure all my ducks are in a row. My English muffins may or may not be like 100% frozen. So I should probably open that up and then maybe get like one of those like brought to the surface. That's a special occasion, so we're going to use blue plates. The blue plate special, if you will. Oh, I don't want to microwave that too long. Stop! Alright, so that's melting-ish. Alright, so these things, they don't open very, like, Thomas, I appreciate the fact that you put it in the bag, but the bag is so underwhelming that like you have to handle it like it's made of precious, rare, breakable stuff. Otherwise, you'll never get it resealed for freshness. Now I realize these come in like a 2-pack. Actually, I brought a bag. I bet I throw that bag in the trash. Did I do that? I'm gonna throw it in a old bread bag. I'm gonna be crazy to have 2, I think. So we're gonna try to get those defrosting, if you will, because they are fairly solid. We're gonna go with the old the elusive English muffin teepee, 2-sided teepee. Maximize airflow for rapid thawing. I shouldn't say rapid thawing. Quicker thawing. Let's drizzle the drizzle. Man, this ramekin is not very. Does it say microwave safe? Microwave, oven, dishwasher safe. This piece of ceramic is screaming hot right now, which leads me to believe that's not really safe for microwaves. It's not supposed to get super hot in the microwave, is it? All right, so if I remember from last time, because this is very similar to what I did last time, if I cook the potatoes too soon, they'll be done too early, right? Does anybody else remember that? I was going to do something different because I did this last week, but I decided this was so good last week that I'm just going to do it again. Is that wrong? If that's wrong, I don't think I want to be right. Okay, we got our bacon, raw bacon plate. We're going to have to get a bacon cooked plate out here in a second. We have to re-up that coffee here in a second. Cooked bacon plate. Half a slab of bacon bag. I'm just going to store that in the freezer. Because how could that go bad? Just put that back on the old freezer. Get our Frank Zappa cup out of the way. 2 layers of papier towel. And we're off. All right, well, let's make some more coffee. I did receive some coffee the other day. I'm gonna make a video about it, but I'm not sure. I'm trying to figure out the best way to make a video about coffee. I mean, I guess I could plug it. I mean, I'm not officially endorsed or sponsored by anybody, but I have I like to use generalities on this here YouTube channel. Let's do this. I have a relative who is well, I suppose it's safe to say, in a relationship with an individual that owns a coffee shop where they roast their own coffee. Is that fair to say? That's probably accurate without you know, I don't want to put anybody on blast or anything. Or and I guess for Christmas, I will just say for that. For Christmas, I got a bag of coffee from there. I'm very excited about. I've been trying to think of how to do the video though. Like, how do I open a bag of coffee and make the coffee in a video with no edits that it's not weird? So I gotta have everything ready to go, and like I have to like crack the bag open really fast and get it brewing, and then I don't know, talk about stuff, I guess. I'm still trying to sort that one out. Or I suppose I could just be a normal person who just enjoy the coffee and be like, nothing to coffee, but I mean, since I'm doing this thing, I figure I might as well do it all, right? I don't actually record everything that I do. Unfortunately, lately I've been doing things, and like when I get almost done doing them, I was like, damn, I should have recorded that. Whatever. I rearranged furniture in one of my rooms, and got rid of some furniture I wasn't using, and like decided to bring some other furniture down. Like, I just happen to have spare furniture. I'm one of those kind of people who can't say no to a good piece of used furniture. Does that make any sense to anybody? I don't know. I happen to have room. I have room for storage. So like if someone's like, oh, I'm getting rid of this, and if it's in good condition and it's not like a complete, piece of garbage that needs to go to landfill, I just say, I'll take that. I'll take that, because like, funny thing about most things in life, eventually everything wears out and you're gonna need a new version of it. And like, I generally don't sit around with no pants on, so like, I'm gonna have pants on, so it doesn't matter who was sitting in the chair before me. my pants are gonna be on that chair, so it's gonna be fine. Well, I was like, I've had this one set of chairs forever, and it's like kind of cool. Always wanted to use them, but never really had room, because you don't have so much room. I mean, you only have so much stuff out in your house. So it was like one of those, I'm not sure if you're familiar, it's like Scandinavian furniture. You ever seen the Scandinavian furniture that's like, it's like naturally colored, so it's like light blonde colored, and it's bent in an S shape, and like it's like steam formed wood. Looks like IKEA furniture kind of. I don't know, something about it. I've always loved it, and I had a buddy who's like dog chewed the corner of his furniture. And he's like, I'm getting rid of this. It's dog chewed, because it was kind of messed up. There's splinters, but like, I was like, yeah, I could probably throw a sander on that. I mean, it's not completely the way it's supposed to be, but whatever. It's a chair. So I just took a sander and sanded it down. Now, like, instead of the rails being perfect rectangle pieces of wood, they're rolled edge. So it's like, it just kind of looks like the chair's been around for like 300 years. One of them deals. And I've always wanted to have it out, but never had room. And since I'm moving my furniture around, a new configuration type of deal, I was like, oh, I could probably bring that down. So I brought it down, set it up, put it in the sunroom so I can sit in the sun and like, I don't know, take a nap or read a book or stare at the clouds or whatever you do in a sunroom, I guess, whatever. And ended up running my little robot vacuum. Little Gearbot came out from underneath the pinball machine, and he was out wandering around, sucking up the dust bunnies. And then he got over to the new chair setup, and the new chair setup has a footstool. Because like, how else can you get comfortable if you don't have a footstool? It's a matching footstool. And the wood is like that thick. Well, that's thin enough that the robot goes over the top and just got completely instantly stuck. It was like, it's not gonna work. Like, there's no way. Like, I can't have a chair. So it's like a foot with a swivel, or not, I want a swivel. There's 2 feet that rolled underneath with the boards, and then it just wasn't gonna happen. I was just like, that can't happen. I was so bummed. So I was like, well, I guess it's not gonna happen. Like, I cannot live in a situation where every single time the robot's out, it's gonna get stuck every 2 minutes. Like, that is absolutely undoable. Like, I cannot do that. It just dawned on me. I just started hashing the potatoes. Oopsies. Let's do that. Oopsie dipsies. So I had to put that chair away. So that was kind of a bummer. I mean, literally a bummer. So that was all sad. I was like, oh, no chair. What am I going to do? Type of deal. Let's see if I can do this without filming the back of my arm. And then I was down in the lower garage looking for something for somebody. And it dawned on me, I was like, oh, look over the corner of that garage space there. There's like chairs right there that are not that bad. They're actually kind of nice chairs. They're just like, they were used chairs with footrests. Let's see, potatoes. Go, I think that's it. Ooh, dirty knife. No, don't look there. There were some, it was a set of chairs that someone had used. They didn't want them anymore. They were kind of beat up because the person who used them before me had mobility issues and they would kind of crash into them, and it's just the way life went. Like the corners are all like kind of scratched up a little bit. It's like, well, scratched up corners, whatever. I'm not that fancy. So I said, well, I'll give that a try. So that's another one of those chairs with the footrest things. So like, I learned my lesson last time. I'm not going to lug these chairs and all that down. We'll start with the footrest. So I just took a footrest down and like set it in the room and ran the vacuum. Like, will the vacuum get stuck? Because the footrest wood is the same as the chair wood. This particular chair and footrest come down on a post and the legs go out that way. Which turns out the robot can't go over there because they're a little thicker. I was like, perfect. Robot can't go over the foot. I can do that. So then I got the mule, drove the mule down to the garage, lugged the chair down from the attic, stuck it in the mule, drove it up to the house, drug it into the house, got to the kitchen and kind of started looking at it, and I was like, oh yeah, no, these haven't been they haven't been addressed. Like the person who used them as much as they wanted to, and then they stopped using them, and then they got put in storage, and like they were never cleaned or anything. It was like, I probably spent 2 hours cleaning that chair. I was like, yowzer. There was a good solid chair's life worth of crumbs down in every little crevice you could imagine. And then there was just like, I just had to do some. I did a pretty deep clean on it. That just happened. I just had to do that. But the chair's cleaned up, or the chair cleaned up real nice. The damaged part of the chair will remain damaged forever. There's nothing that can be done for that. My solution was I took a Sharpie marker and colored it, because how else would you do it? I don't know who or what or why, but like, somewhere along the lines of like furniture building, someone determined that when you make a piece of furniture, you either use 100% garbage shit on all the chair, or you use 100% garbage shit like on the back of the chair, and like only the parts that you can look at you make nice. Which I guess, that little bacon is just going to curl on the ending. And I'm sure there's somebody making furniture where all the furniture is made of the good stuff. Like I assume it's like there's no way I can put that. It's curling. I assume furniture were all like, for example, this is leather furniture, right? So I can only assume at this point to buy a piece of furniture that's made of leather all around, all sides, is so expensive that like literally nobody can buy it, or that kind of furniture store doesn't exist in the town that I live in because there's no one here that can afford shit like that. So when you buy a piece of leather furniture, like the part you sit on is going to be leather potentially, maybe where your arms go is going to be leather, and where your back goes leather, but the bottom side of the armrest, the bottom side of the chair, and the back are going to be like fake leather, right? Like how else is it going to be? Like I do that with cars and stuff. Like I know I have a Subaru, and I know the version of my Subaru with the leather interior. The part you touch when you sit is leather, but everything else is fake leather. Like the back, everything else is just like fake leather on a leather interior. Like, okay, I get it, but I also don't get it. Like, So yeah, it's like the bottom of the chair where it rubbed into like something else when the chair would spin. That they put pleather underneath there, fake leather. Well, that pleather, it just rubbed and rubbed and rubbed on whatever the chair was swiveling into, and then it broke the surface of the pleather, and on the back side of the pleather is like white cloth. So just this big area of white, just like, oh, that looks good on a black chair. Like, oh, nice. So yeah, Sharpie marker solved that. I just colored that in black. Like, good enough. It just so happens that that particular chair's damage is facing away from the direction you would walk into the room and look at the chair. So it's like, ah, you know, out of sight, out of mind. I could probably have never told anybody that. They'd never even know. I had to do a little polishing where the hair product went. There was an alarming amount of hair product in the chair, and you know, I'm not innocent of that either. Like, I looked at the chair I sit in every day, and I looked at that the other day. I was like, oh my god. I mean, I'm not gonna tell you how much hair product I use, but my hair product was all over the top of that headrest in my chair, and I was like, oh, that is disgusting. It's like, well, I guess I'm a human. Like, oh, it's hard to be human. All right, we gotta get this thing spun to the egg release zone, otherwise the egg will never come off. Okay. So that part there is gonna chill mellow out. All right, what's next? Let's see if we can get this here English muffin kersplatted apart. Oh man, it's going to be a struggle. It's still quite frozen. Oh, the potatoes are hollering. Pull the potatoes. Oh, this isn't going to go apart. That is absolute tragedy. Steamy potatoes! Stuff. Cook that a little longer. I mean, I don't... Put some vent holes in this thing or something? Yeah. The edges are frost free. The center is frost full. I didn't think this part of the expedition out. Oh, I know what I can talk about. Man, I read a book the other day. Well, when I say read a book, I do books on tape. And I just talk about it as if I read the book because in my mind it's kind of the same thing. Is that a way to microwave? Can I microwave them like that? Let's try it, see what happens. I just need to get a little defrost going. Oops. I think I'm going to put a pause on the potatoes too, because the dog is resting comfortably off camera. We might have an in-depth conversation about the dog after the new year, but for now the dog is off camera, resting comfortably. So I'm gonna microwave these English muffins, try to get them thawed out a little tiny bit, and then I'm gonna talk to you about this book I quote unquote read. So this book was called The Wager. Oh man, The Wager, like a bet. And the Wager was a boat, an English like war boat, back in like, oh man, I'm gonna get the year wrong. It was like back when well, mankind had circumnavigated the globe, but not a lot of times, where it was still like anybody that was going to go around the globe, that was like, you're going to do something that's never been done a lot by a lot of people. So like what, 1800s or late 1700s or something like that? Probably 1700s. Get my brain on straight. And this particular boat was tasked, this was during like a war between Spain and England. The war was called the War of Some Guy's Ear. I can't remember exactly what it was called, but essentially the Spaniards took a hostage from England, like a soldier, tried to get the truth out of him, and the solution was to cut his ear off. Oop, that is getting too hot. And it started a war. They put it in a box and they shipped it back. Anyways, I was gonna use this ring. So the crown was like, all right, we're gonna get a bunch of boats to go out. We're gonna find the Spanish Armada or whatever, and we're gonna basically rob them of their silver. So they had to go around the tip of South America was what they were supposed to be doing. And this boat like shipwrecked, right? And man, just the most craziest story because people ended up surviving. When it shipwrecked, it didn't sink in the middle of the ocean. It crashed into land. Oh, I spilled some right there. And the story is basically about, there were people keeping journals that survived or whatever. And just the story of how it went down, the mutiny, the craziness, what they had to do to survive. And then the result, because it took, back in those days, you didn't just like make an airplane ticket reservation and fly home. It's like some of the dudes were shipwrecked for years. Like, it was a crazy story. But like, the whole thing was nuts. Like the beginning of it and all that. As far as like what they got away with back in the day. So like basically there was a decree from the not the church, the king or queen or whatever, the monarchy that was like, hey, this many boats, this many people, send them out. Well, they couldn't find enough people to fill the boat, so they started like bringing like injured people, sick people. They were bringing them in on stretchers just so they could say a person's on the boat. That's how bad it was. Like, we need 500 people on this boat, so they're bringing anybody in. You don't got eyes, get on the boat. Your legs missing, get on the boat. You're so sick you can't walk, get on the boat. We need 500. They literally filled these boats with people who, without exaggeration, had no business at all going to sea. Well, they're at sea. When you go to sea for months, they didn't know at the time, you get scurvy and like your teeth start falling out, and like they didn't know what was going on, and like typhus broke out, they didn't know what was going on, like everybody's dying. This is before they even crashed. Like the people just died, they're chucking bodies overboard, they're like losing hundreds and hundreds of people. At one point, one of the captains of one of the boats died, they put a new guy in charge, and he's the one that got shipwrecked, and like nobody, it was just nuts. They mutinied, and when they tried to leave the island, they left the captain behind. They're like, no, we don't want you coming with, left him behind. Just like, oh, that's rough, that's a rough one. But like, that dude got back. He got back. It took him years to get back. Well, when everybody else got back, they told a lie. And they're like, oh yeah, this is what happened. Because like, that dude's dead. He ain't gonna, you know what I mean? And like all of a sudden this guy like crawls out of the woodwork. He's like, I'm back, motherfuckers. And like, you. He starts calling names out. Traitor, mutineer, murderer. It's just crazy. It just so happened that captain shot somebody in the head who was like leading the head rabble-rouser guy. There was some shit going down over like food because everyone was starving to death. So like, the captain just one day he just walked straight out of the tent, put a gun to a guy's face and shot him. Like no word spoken, just like blasted the dude, which is like not exactly how it's supposed to work. So for like a while during like when the trial was leading up, like there was like, well, the only person that's gonna get in trouble is the captain because he murdered somebody, and that's like the worst crime without a trial. And like the way it all turned out in the end was the Crown, England, they didn't want anything to get out about like any potential mutineering or anything. They didn't want anyone to get like, it was like, oh, we'll just sweep it out of the rug. So at the end of the day, the trial was all about, was there anything we could do to prevent the ship from crashing? And they blamed it all on one dude because he was in the crow's nest and he didn't announce land. And, oh, this cup's got a crack in it. Oh, my Zappa cup. There's a crack right there. So at the end of the whole deal, the dude, he just said, oh, I thought it was a cloud, that's why I didn't report it. And that was the end of it. He got a suspended sentence for the whole deal. But like, in reality, there should have been like multiple people getting hung for all this crazy like mutineering and stuff. Like when the boat crashed, a big group of the people were like, no, we're all gonna die. So they just grabbed like the whiskey and the liquor, and they just threw a party. Because like, we don't give a shit. We're all gonna die anyway. We know. We're just gonna go out with a bang, have a good time. And that's what they did. They just partied. And the captain's like, you can't do that. And they were like, kiss our ass, like, what are you gonna do about it, type of deal. Oh god, it was nuts. So like the legal scholars at the time started like parsing it all out, like, because like, oh man, the way it worked back in the day is like the reason that mutiny was so bad is because you couldn't, how would I describe it? You can't really have a military that floats on water if at all it's ever questioned whether or not someone could just like have a mutiny. Like that's an absolute zero tolerance policy, because the whole thing breaks down. Once it happens once, then it can happen again. So it was an absolute zero tolerance policy. I mean, 100% zero tolerance. And that's why they didn't want to bring it up in the trial, because it wouldn't look good, type of deal. I think I'm actually am I gonna try it like that? I'm gonna do actual sandwiches. It's a good try. Oh yeah. Oh. It was a fascinating book. They because there was ports along the way, so they stopped in. One of the places they stopped in was an island, or a port, a coastline, something or other, whatever, that had lime trees, right? If you know anything about lime trees are a form of citrus, and citrus has vitamin C, and vitamin C is what prevents you from getting scurvy. What scurvy is lack of vitamin C, right? But no one knew. No one knew that scurvy was vitamin C deficiency. But somehow along the lines, they all figured it out. And the author didn't really go into it too much. I assume the way they figured it out was because that island, eventually enough people went there and ate the limes, and they started making the correlation, like, oh, you ate the lime, you didn't get sick, type of deal. But anyways, that's why the English sometimes are known as limeys, because they learned to eat a lime, you don't get scurvy. The sailors. Isn't that interesting? But yeah, The Wager. What a book that was. Wow. It's the same guy that wrote the. It's a movie that's coming out with Leonardo DiCaprio, Under the Moon Star or whatever. It's a book about basically the founding of the FBI. Ooh, that got crazy. Based on the there was a tribe of ooh, that's hot. A tribe of Native Americans that have their tribal land had all this crazy amounts of oil on it, and it was like lock, stock, and barrel their land. And that was back in the boom days, where it's like, oh, we're gonna need this oil. They couldn't figure out how to steal the land back from them, so they just like, well, I guess what we're gonna do is just have to pay these people. But the government was like, no, we can't just give them money, because, and it's terrible to say, but the government felt as though they couldn't handle it. So they put like government approved overseers to handle the finances for them, because the amount of money was like insane for the time. So they were just basically given unlimited resources, but were still considered savages or whatever by the government. Well, the way it was set up, it was like that tribe and their relatives would be set for life. It was like a dividend that got paid out. They literally started having people trying to get married into the tribe so they could get their hands on this money. Like, it was so devious, and so like the government got involved trying to protect these people. But were doing this long con of years, courting their daughters, getting in the family, getting married to the family, and then try to murder the family off, right? And then once they murdered the family off, the only person left was the guy that's just like, whoa, it happened, and then like. So the author wrote a book about that too. A very good book. Absolutely fascinating. He also did The Lost City of Z. About if I remember right, that's looking for the gold city in the Amazon. It's a good author. I can't think of his name though. I suppose I could look that up. I tell these stories and don't give all the information, right? Yeah, books on tape, I'm telling you. Let's see here. Excuse me. Open another tab. The Wager book. Excuse me. Killers of the Moonflower was the other book. Why can't I find the guy's name? David Graham. Gran, Grann. David Gran. The Wager, A Tale of Shipwreck and Mutiny. Yeah. But that Wager story, there was one point, so like the boats they escaped on, they were not large boats. So like the ship they were on carried like 500 people or something in the beginning. By the time they shipwrecked, they were down to a few hundred, and then I think like less than 100 made it back. Anyways, these big ships you'd have to ferry between ships, so there were like small ships, boats or whatever on the side of the big boats. Well, they figured out how to like dive down and release one of those ferrying ships, and they got it up out of the water and they brought it to shore. But it was way too small to hold everybody, so the carpenter like cut the thing in half, widened it and lengthened it. For the main escape boat. And they made 3 or 4 more boats. But this area, excuse me, internet makes my nose run. The area that they were shipwrecked in, like the tip of South America, that's some of the craziest oceans on the planet Earth. That's because the two oceans are coming through a pinch point from Antarctica and the South American continent. And they were going during what they thought was going to be the calmest time of year, which would be South America's summer. But it turns out that's opposite of the truth. And you would never go down there. Like they were dealing with like hurricane force winds, waves that were insane. And these dudes are trying to escape on a boat where like the top of the boat's like less than a foot from the top of the water. Like it's just like, it was like absolutely no one would ever attempt it. Like, but their only choice was that or like starve to death. So at one point, they're floating along, and they're surviving on like, they got some of the food off the boat, but not a lot. So they're scraping seaweed off rocks and eating that. And if they see anything that's like an animal, they're killing it instantly and eating it. So they're trying to get through all this. It's taking them months. So every once in a while they have to go to shore and try to scrape some seaweed. So like they get close and like push people off, or like at one point they had like a little tiny boat that would go, but they're down to, they lost that thing. So they had people. There were some guys who could swim, so they'd have them swim ashore and like try to gather food and try to get back. Anyways, one of the times, a big storm came out of nowhere, and like they had to make a decision. Like we cannot stay where we are. The boat's gonna get pushed through the rocks, and then we're all doomed. We got people on the island gathering food for us. It was 4 Marines. So what they did is they wrote a note, put it in a barrel, threw it overboard, waited till the barrel floated to the shore, and waited for the guys to get it. waited for him to open up and read it, said, sorry, there's nothing we can do, we gotta go. And then they left. That island's called Marine Island, by the way. It's like, what the hell? Could you imagine? Could you imagine surviving a shipwreck, going to shore to get food, and having your boat leave you? I mean, there was after they lost one of their small rescue boat things, they had the boat so packed you couldn't. It was like either sitting or standing room only. You couldn't lay down. They lost one of their smaller boats. Now they had too many people, and they've already left. So they'd be like, we're gonna need some volunteers to stay behind because there was literally no room. So people were like, I'll stay. So they're like, well, basically, the people that I'd rather starve to death on land than drown in the ocean. So like a bunch of people volunteered to stay behind. I think some of those guys survived. It was a wild story, though. Completely wild. Oh, well. I can't believe my Zappa cup's broke. It's bumming me out. I don't know, something about whatever this is made of makes coffee taste so good. Like opens up the coffee receptor in my tongue. There's got to be some science behind that. Oh well. All right. I'm actually thinking about sitting down and just eating like a normal person. I might end this a little early. I watched one of my streams and I realized how loud those hash browns are. Hey, look, clear up there. Like, what is going on? This seems a little extreme. All right. Well, if I'm not mistaken, this is the last day of 2023. Oh, that's so weird. Nothing I can do about it. I think I'm going to do that by, I might shoot a couple YouTube videos, and I think we should play video games. Maybe do some laundry. Be a lazy person for a day. Doesn't that sound fun? Just be lazy. Sad little bacon guy. I never shoveled my patio off. Did I get new gutters? Oh, I heard you got new gutters. No, unfortunately, I didn't. I need new gutters. I had a tree fall in one of my gutters. I could patch it. Yep, I heard that you got a new roof and new gutters. Congratulations. There are worse things in life than new roofs and new gutters. 2023. Yeah, I don't even know where this year went. Just a blur. I mean, I know it's, you get 12 months and whatever. I just, yowzer. All right. Well, 6 people now. 5 people. Oh, they left. Ugh, I don't want to watch that. Whatever. Am I going to sit here? Sit here for 6 more minutes? Nope. Happy New Year. Peace out. Thanks for tuning in. If you saw live, if you didn't watch it live, well, you missed out on how amazing the live version was. You could have ordered me around. Instead, you didn't. If you watched the re-upload, that's cool too. See you next year. Happy New Year to you too.